The chime hit while I was on Nolensville Pike with someone else's brake caliper in my hands. Unknown AirTag moving with you. My phone lit up a little blue map arrow inside a grayed out circle, and for a second I thought some random shopper had left their keys in my back seat at lunch. Then I tipped the driver's seat forward, reached under with 2 fingers, and pulled out my spare keyring. Clipped to it was a white disc. The back was scratched, but you could still read the tiny engraving around the metal. G. Grace's initial. Grace's AirTag. My heartbeat found a new gear. My truck idled like it knew to keep quiet. If she hit a tracker in my cab, what did she think I was doing after dark, or what did she need me not to see? I'm a mechanic. I'm 29. My hands are strong from bolts and belts and things that fix the world when you turn them the right way. I also know the steady hum of lying. It's a different engine, one that runs hot even when the hood is closed. Grace works late shifts. That's what she calls them. Some nights she's at the hotel front desk near Broadway when the tourists pour in like a tide. Some nights she's covering doubles for a friend. It had turned into a fog of late, everything running over, nobody's schedule written down anywhere I could see. I told myself it was normal until my phone made a noise my bones knew to respect. I wiped my palms on a rag and looked at the little disc in my hand. The iPhone will tell you when a tracker that isn't yours is riding along. It doesn't show you everything, it's designed to protect the owner, but it shows enough. Enough to know that for the last 3 nights, an AirTag that didn't belong to me had been moving with me from the shop to our house in East Nashville, from our house to the grocery, and then, when the miles were over, the ping kept going without me. It lit up near a complex off Shelby Avenue I had never parked in. The message closed itself and the world kept going. My truck didn't care. I did. When I got home, our place smelled like cinnamon brew and something new from a candle shop. Grace was in scrubs, the soft gray kind that always looked like pajamas, hair in a high knot, eyes bright in a way that could be joy or adrenaline. "You're early," she said. Checked the stove like she left dinner as proof. "Got a light day," I said. I set my keyring on the counter and let the white disc knock against the laminate. "Lost something?" She looked at it without really looking. "What's that?" "Your AirTag," I said, "with your initial." She frowned like she was reading small print. "Must have fallen out of my bag." "Into my truck?" I asked. "Under the seat?" She lifted one shoulder. "I throw my bag in there sometimes." "Sometimes," I repeated. The word felt slippery. She reached for it. I didn't hand it over. I held it between 2 fingers like a coin you don't flip until the bet is fair. "Been getting alerts," I said. "Unknown AirTag traveling with me. Not unknown anymore, I guess." "Colton," she said, eye roll primed. "Those things glitch. Mine was on my gym bag for a while. Maybe it's confused." "I'm not," I said. "What are you tracking?" "Don't make it sound creepy," she snapped, sharper than I'd seen in weeks. "I lose stuff. I don't like losing stuff." "You lost a lot lately," I said, and I heard the edge in my voice like a blade I didn't remember sharpening. "Time, plans, your phone in the other room when I call." He picked up a spoon and stirred an empty pot. "I've been working. The city doesn't sleep on weekends." "This isn't about the city," I said. I put the AirTag on the counter and slid it to her. "It's about us." She took it like it was hot, slipped it into her scrub pocket, and smiled too big. "Dinner in 10. I didn't answer. I went to wash my hands and stared at my face in the mirror and told myself not to go looking for proof I couldn't hold in my hands. Then I went looking anyway. We have a shared iPad. We bought it used for recipes and football and whatever else lives on kitchen counters between nail clippers and takeout menus. Grace uses it to airplay music when she's cleaning and when she's not. Sometimes the little green dot in the corner glows when a text comes in and neither of us is looking. That night, while the pot pretended to simmer, the iPad woke up on its own. A banner slid down from the top. Grace's keys were left behind near Shelby Avenue. Find My had that helpful chipper tone even when it's telling you something you never wanted to know. Left behind near Shelby Avenue. I tapped with a thumb that suddenly felt like it weighed 5 pounds. Find My opened to a cluster of little blue circles. One said Grace's iPhone. One said Grace's iPad. One said Grace's keys, with a tiny image of a keychain and the white disc clipped on. Last seen, Riverside Flats. The map zoomed a little when I pinched. There was the dog park. There was the coffee place with the chalkboard signs. There was the building with iron balconies where Grace's friend from fitness lived. A man named Wyatt, 6 months of, "You like him?" He's got that whole plant-based bro thing who always somehow left right before I walked in. My stomach went cold and then hot. I snapped the photo with my phone because that's what men do now when the world tilts. We turn it into a picture we can show someone the moment they try to call us crazy. At dinner, she talked about a guest refusing to pay a minibar charge. I nodded and heard not a word. When she reached to take my plate, the AirTag pressed through her pocket like a coin. The sound it made when her hip leaned into the counter was small, a knock you could miss if you weren't listening for ghosts. Something else was wrong, too. In the laundry basket were receipts I didn't recognize, tossed in with quarters and bobby pins and a ticket stub for a place I had never been. 2 were for a juice bar on Riverside. 1 was for a boutique with a name that sounded like a perfume, not a store. 1 was for a late-night taco order placed at 11:12 a.m. and marked pickup. The name on the receipt had the last initial wrong. She doesn't do that. We've been together 4 years. She writes her name like a signature even when it's just for napkins. Don't start a crime map, I told myself out loud while folding towels, because men like me have to say that sentence sometimes to keep from turning into the weather guy with red circles on a cheap green screen. The next day, I did the boring thing that works better than rage. I logged into our bank. The app likes to show you merchants with little logos and a map. Grace had cash withdrawals near Shelby on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and again on Saturday, all between midnight and 2. The little map pin sat right next to Riverside Flats like a bully. 2 Venmo charges to a handle with the word fit in it. Emoji notes, muscles, a fire, a tiny water drop. You can tell yourself emoji are nothing. You can also tell yourself a warning light is because the dash is old. I took screenshots, not for court, for my own sanity. If we were about to be swallowed by the dark, I wanted to know which direction it was coming from. The day after that, I laid the AirTag on the table and tapped it with my phone. NFC gives you a serial number and some Apple Pays that tells you it exists. It doesn't give you the whole life story. I didn't need that. The family iPad had already shown me all the plot you can eat. When I brought the AirTag up again, she laughed like I brought up socks on the floor. Are you obsessed? She said, not unkindly, but not kind either. It's a tracker, Colton. It beeped at you because you were near my bag. Stop acting like you're a detective. I didn't get a notification until it was under my seat, I said. Your bag isn't under my seat. Maybe it got stuck there, she said. Maybe I tossed it. Maybe, I said. Maybe it got stuck when you slid it there. She put both palms on the table. Are you calling me a liar? I'm calling me a man who doesn't want to be lied to. Her eyes flashed. You're the one stalking me with my own device. How is that okay? I almost laughed. Instead, I picked up the iPad and pulled down the notification shade and showed her the banner from 2 nights ago. Grace's keys left behind near Riverside. I opened Find My. I tapped the little key icon. It popped up with the name she'd chosen for it. G-Keys. I clicked the info button and showed her the serial. Then I laid the AirTag we'd found on the counter and pointed to the tiny laser-etched number on the back. It matched. This is your tag, I said. These are your keys. This is your map. I'm not stalking. I'm reading. She stared at the screen like it had cheated. Then she did the move I've seen drunks do in the parking lot when they get pulled over for weaving. Deny, attack, reverse. Why are you going through my devices, she said. Why are you looking at where I go? That's controlling, Colton. I didn't go through anything, I said, and I had to keep my voice from shouting. Your iPad lit up in our kitchen and told me your key tag was at Riverside when you said you were at work. I softened my tone because the volume wasn't going to help. Who's at Riverside, Grace? Friends, she said. We run at Shelby Park. The trail is right there. You know that. Do you pick up tacos at 1 in the morning while you run? I asked. She stood so fast her chair hit the wall. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this fight where you make me feel like a criminal for having a life. I'm asking for the truth, I said. You're asking for my phone, she shot back. You're asking to put me on a leash. I won't live like that. You already put a leash on me, I said, tapping the disc. You started this with a tracker under my seat? I lost it, she said. I told you that. You didn't, I said. You hid it. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. The dog, who knows storms without knowing words, got up and left the room. We slept on opposite sides of our bed and pretended to be tired. People talk about silence like it's nothing. It can weigh more than a truck. On Friday night, she said she was going for a run at Shelby. She grabbed her leggings and a hoodie and the headband that looks like a sweatband. The air had a cold bite for February in Nashville. I said okay, same as any other night. Then I drove early. I parked in the lot across from the trailhead and killed my lights. I'm not proud of it. I'm also not apologizing. Sometimes the only way to tear a lie off is to meet it where it lives. At 9037, a white sedan idled at the edge of the lot. Grace got out, stretched like she was on camera. A man in a black jacket slid out of the passenger side. He had that gym body you get when your job is convincing other people they can have one too. He put a hand on her lower back like it was his. She glanced around once, the way you do when the night is pretty, but you know it has teeth. They started a slow jog toward the darkness of the greenway and then stopped before the first bend. He kissed her. It wasn't a movie kiss. It was the kind of kiss people do when they think they'll get away with it every time. I didn't go full old western and stomp over. I let myself feel the whole heat of it first, the way the warm thing turns to cold when the air hits. Then I walked out of my shadows like a bad idea coming to collect. Evening, I said. They split like oxygen and flame. Grace's hands flew to her face. The man's hands went to his pocket like there was a solution inside. Colton, she said, voice high. What are you doing here? Looking for my dog's AirTag, I said, because sometimes humor is the only blade that won't cut your own fingers. This is my friend Jace, she said too fast, from the gym. Jace held out a hand like we were at a networking event. Hey man, we were just... You don't need to name the thing I already watched, I said. I turned to Grace. You left your keys at Riverside again. Find My told me. What did you tell me? You told me front desk overtime. She took a step. We're going on a run. This looks bad. It's not... Stop, I said. Please, don't insult me with words that won't hold still. Chase's jaw went tight. Maybe we should talk man to man. We aren't men together, I said. We are strangers. The man I'm talking to is the one who sleeps in my house and calls me hers. Grace made a sound like something breaking inside. I didn't plan this, she said. It just happened, I said. Things don't just happen. People do them. She looked down at her shoes like the treads had wisdom written on them. I feel seen, she whispered, and the sentence hung there like a balloon you didn't want. I see you, I said, and my voice surprised me by not shaking. I see you leaving your AirTag in my truck. I see you at Riverside at 1 in the morning ordering tacos. I see your Venmo with fire emojis to your friend. I see maps that don't match the mouth. And I see me losing sleep because I know how to hear a lie even when it's dressed like work. Jay stepped a little closer in that posture men use when they want to look taller. You can't talk to her like she's... I can talk to my life however I want for 3 more minutes, I said without looking at him. Then you can have whatever's left on the sidewalk. Grace's eyes filled and she wiped them with the heel of her hand like she was mad at herself for caring. I'm sorry, she said. I am. I never meant... I believe you didn't plan to hurt me, I said. I also believe you did it anyway. What do you want, she asked, breath coming fast. Do we go home? Do we fight? Can we fix it? I looked past her at the dark line of the river, at the city lights blinking out a rhythm that had nothing to do with us. I thought about the file cabinets in my head where I store facts. I thought about the way a good bearing hums when it's true. I thought about the last month of sleeping on one side of the bed like I could guard the border of a country that already fell. I want my keys back, I said, and my AirTag alerts to stop, and your pins off my maps. That's it? She asked, desperate and small. That's everything, I said. Her mouth opened like there was a big speech inside it. It closed like mercy. She nodded. Okay. Jace exhaled a laugh at the wrong time. I turned and looked at him and didn't say anything. He decided to look at the pavement. We walked back to the lot. She handed me the little disc, warm from her pocket. I started to hand it back. Then I stopped. No, I said. Actually, keep it. You're going to need to find yourself. That made us both wince because it was too neat for the hurt. I got in my truck. I drove away. I didn't look in the mirror. If you look in the mirror too much, you crash. The next morning, I changed all the things you can change in one sitting. I removed Grace from Find My. I turned off the shared location. We set up the night we thought it was romantic to watch each other's little dots float around Nashville like fireflies. I deleted the family iPad from my devices and signed her out so her maps wouldn't reach into my kitchen anymore. I changed the garage code that Evan Different Story used to know. I changed the lock screen on my truck so it didn't remember her phone as a favorite. I made a new password for the bank and took my name off the Venmo that liked to draw hearts next to lies. I put the spare key back on a ring that closed all the way. Around noon, Grace texted me, "Can we talk?" I stared until the bubble faded. Then I typed, "Yes, on the porch, daylight, no Jace." It looked like something a cop might write. It looked like a boundary. She came over with the tote bag and eyes like the day after a storm. She sat on the top step. The dog lay between us like an offering. "I'm ending it with him," she said without any warm-up. It made me feel like there was a window open in a hot room, and then it made me feel like I was the one who left the door open and let everything out. "You're good with metaphors," I said, because sometimes my mouth is cruel to defend my chest. "I'm trying," she said. "This wasn't about you being bad. I don't want you to think it was. You work hard. You're steady. You're good. He was new." "New isn't better," I said. She nodded. Tears slipped and she didn't wipe them. "I'm sorry for the AirTag," she said. "I did it because I thought you were working extra and not telling me, and I didn't want to be the idiot who didn't know things everyone else knew." I laughed once without humor. "You put a leash on me because you were afraid I'd be the one to walk." "I know," she said. "It's gross." "Why didn't you just ask?" "Because I would have had to answer back," she said. "Because you would have said, 'Where were you last Thursday?' and I would have had to say, 'Not at work.'" We sat with it. Then I said the line I knew I had to say for the me I want to be, even if part of me hated it. "We're done." She closed her eyes, nodded once, opened them, nodded again. "Okay. We'll split the bills until the end of the month," I said. "I'll sleep on the couch while you pack, or I'll go to my cousin's for a week. You pick." "I'll go to Becca's," she said. "I'll text when I'm not at the house. I'll leave the car if you want me to. It was your down payment. It's fair." "I'm not going to inventory us like a pawn shop," I said. "Take the car. I'll figure out a truck for a while." She almost smiled because it was the most me sentence I've ever said. "I fix things. I don't cling." She stood. "Can I hug you?" she asked. "No," I said. "Not because I hate you, because my body is smarter than my mouth right now." "Okay," she said again. After she left, I sat on the step and felt the sun on the back of my neck and realized my heart wasn't trying to jump out of my ribs. It hurt. It didn't gallop. The difference matters. My cousin Shane owns a place in Madison and had a spare room full of fishing gear and a bed that felt like it remembered other people's backs. I moved in for a little while. I took only what I needed: boots, jeans, 3 shirts that didn't smell like our house. The first night I woke up at a 1111, ready to check something: a phone, a map, a camera. I didn't. I stared at the ceiling and listened to a train somewhere far off and let my breath do what the yoga people on YouTube tell you it can do: slow the electricity inside you. People say betrayal makes you hard. Maybe. Weirdly, it made me narrow. It told me where my edges are, it told me what I won't accept, and it gave me permission to take the steering wheel back. On Monday, I told the guys at the shop I was out for a day. I went to the DMV. I took Grace off the emergency contact I had written in a casual blue pen the first time I got my license renewed after we moved in together. I went to the bank and answered 100 questions from a teller who looked like she wanted to hug me and didn't. I bought a new pack of key rings and sat in the parking lot and put my keys on the one that felt like it would survive a flood. Then I opened my phone and turned on a feature I hadn't wanted before, a new thing where my truck tells me if someone is trying to unlock it without me. I smiled at the idea. Control isn't passion, it's peace. Grace texted 2 days later, ended it. She didn't ask for a medal. She didn't ask for me. She said she was sorry again in a way that finally landed like truth. I told her thank you for saying the thing I deserve to hear. I blocked her on Find My. I blocked anyone who had my location from having it again until I wanted to hand it out like a gift. Do you know what that feels like? Like turning the volume down on a song that got stuck in your head for months? Like discovering quiet is loud in a good way. A week after that, I pulled into a hardware store off Gallatin and bought a little pack of screw hooks. I put one by the back door of the house I was about to leave to her for a while. I hung my ring there. Just mine. It clinked once, polite. I stood there and listened to the sound. It sounded like a period. I took the dog to Shelby Park on a Sunday morning when the sky looked like it meant it about being blue. We walked the path she used to run. I thought about anger and how it shows up like a stray you don't have to keep. I let it walk with us for a while. I let it leave. I watched a group of people stretch in a circle and tried not to hate them for the word community written on their shirts. I succeeded for 10 seconds, then 20, then a full minute. I'm getting better at that part. Months later, Nashville was hot in the way that melts the day names together. I was back in my own place, a little rental with a porch that faced a quiet street and a cracked driveway I promised the landlord I'd fix and never did. My phone buzzed once at 1 in the morning. Unknown AirTag moving with you. My heart made a familiar jump before my brain caught up. I laughed in the dark at myself. I found the thing under the seat. It was mine, this time in the wrong bag. I pressed it to my phone. It thought for a second and then recognized my face. The beeping stopped on the first try. If a man is a machine, I changed some parts. I stopped waiting for a phone to tell me if my life is honest. I started trusting the way my chest goes quiet in rooms that aren't lying to me. I still make mistakes. I still check the mirror too much when I pass through a place we used to love. But the arrow on my map is mine again, and it points where I tell it. Two questions for you. If your phone told you there was a tracker riding with you, and your gut told you the person you love put it there, would you call it a glitch, or would you pull over and reach under the seat? And when you found the proof that your maps and their words don't match, would you live in the argument, or would you take back your keys and find a new route? If this story resonated, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps more than you think.